Hello, welcome back to Galaxy Grudge Match Mini. It's been a bit since we've done this, but
yeah, it's been like 2 months.
Yeah, but it's been it's been a busy time. But now we have
Say the line,
time.
say the line, say the line, Ducko.
Yeah, come on, say the
Galaxy
line.
Grudge Match Mini. It may not look mini based on video length.
I deeply regret choosing that to be the title of the show.
I told you guys that was that's not what it should be
would
called.
podcasts have worked? Like,
Galaxy
it is basically a podcast. It's live. We're doing it live.
We're Galaxy Grudge side, Galaxy Grudge cast. I don't know. We could change the name.
It's mini. We're stuck with it now.
Yeah,
We've said it like 3
mini.
times. If we change the title now, people watching those other episodes are going like, why do they call it mini when it's called cast? And they're going confused. And we'll look like idiots. We'll look like idiots.
Well, the matches are smaller, but
okay,
the whole
the
video
matches
is
are smaller.
Yeah, but anyways, today's theme is gonna be movies. It's gonna be Galaxy Grudge Match Mini goes to the movie.
Goes to the movies, and it's basically just like a bunch of just popular movies, I guess. I don't question mark on popular because one of these movies I know is not popular, but it's pitted against a character who's basically a pop culture icon, so I guess it sort of works. But anyways, we're gonna do another one of these Galaxy Grudge minis, and we're gonna go to the movies. So we'll start the first match, and Ribbit. Oh wait, fuck! We didn't even introduce Ribbit, but he already did talk.
Hello.
Ribbit's our judge. Me and Ducko are the debaters, and
Hello.
Ribbit's gonna read the scenarios and come up with the end scenarios too.
Yeah, it's gonna be very exciting. Trust me.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. So with that said, you both ready to get into the first one?
Yeah, we're ready.
Alright. It's Friday the 13th again, and Jason Voorhees is on the loose, killing campers left and right. He must be stopped! How do you say Angela Baker? Is that right?
And that's exactly, Angela. It's not that hard.
Angela Baker is at the same
That's
camp.
that's like a very normal name.
It could have been Anglia. Anglia Baker.
Okay. Alright, Angela Baker.
Alright, and is intending to kill some campers herself. But Jason is stealing her kills. She wants to get rid of him somehow. Meanwhile, Ernest P. Worrell comes stumbling into Crystal Lake, believing it to be a normal camping ground. Ernest hasn't yet noticed the dead and panicked teenagers and is setting a campfire. Jason comes across the man, and Ernest mistakes him for his pal Vern. Hey Vern!
Hey Vern!
What are you doing here? What are you doing all the way out here?
Hey Vern!
Dear.
What are you doing all the way out here?
Hey, Vern, what are you doing all the way out here? You know what I mean?
We got free versions of Ernest just now.
Just for the
You
record.
sounded like Brandon.
Well, I was going for I was going for Barney. Yeah.
Oh, there you
Ernest
go.
got like a weird it's me, Ernest.
Oh, this will be very interesting because I've never seen anything with either of these characters. So.
Dear.
I like both of them, but
Yes.
alright,
So
I'm
you will
debating
be-
for Angela Baker, obviously, because I'm the horror guy. But I guess I'll start. Okay. Angela comes from slasher movies, very similar to Friday the 13th. And is she's the main killer of her movies, in all of them. And thus, she knows exactly how Jason operates, since, she does a lot of the same things he does. And that means she can, stay one step of Jason at all times. If she's planning something, she'll probably know what he's doing. Angela has displayed some supernatural horror strength, able to knock heads clean off their shoulders, yet effortlessly drag around canoes with dead bodies inside them. And also, she's displayed, actual slash reporting. There was an instance where she got knocked out by this girl, which gave her a head start to start running away. Angela was knocked out. But by the time Angela woke up, she was already running behind the girl. She had already made it to where she had gotten. This is gonna sound weird, but stick with me. Angela is a virgin. And that means, in horror movies, that usually means you get to survive till the end and ultimately defeat the main bad guy. That's even true of some of the Friday the 13th movies. And, Jason's probably not going to target Angela because he only targets people who are fornicating on his camp. And, there's even an instance in Jason X when he's dead and, the people start having sex and he just, wakes up and that's what brings him back. He's like, what the fuck's going on? And so he doesn't like it when people have sex. That's the thing. And since Angela wouldn't do that, she may be off his radar for a bit. Jason has a variety of ways he can be defeated by normal people. That always happens in the series. Even if he is physically superior to all of them. He's been, being chained to the bottom of the lake is something Angela can certainly manage. And since she's an expert planner and an intelligent manipulator, I think it's safe to say that she can get Jason in a position where he'll be foiled. I mean, Jason is smart in himself, but he can be manipulated, especially in the earlier films, when all it took was wearing Pamela's sweater to make her think that he was looking at his mother. When it comes to Ernest, however, he's a complete moron. Ernest is, completely oblivious to danger in almost all of the movies. Whenever there's danger nearby, I can't, Ernest usually doesn't, he isn't aware. And, idiots don't last very long in the Friday the 13th movies. A lot of the characters who get killed off, especially in the later ones, are, bumbling morons. It's funny, but, it won't be very funny for long, because of Ernest. Ernest would likely try actually befriending Jason. That seems in character for him. And that would sadly just result in a decapitation. Ernest can survive a lot, but I don't think he can survive something so brutal. Or at least I would hope he wouldn't survive getting his head almost cut off. That would be horrible. Ernest doesn't come up with many strategies either. He sort of just bumbles around. So he won't be able to outsmart Jason, and he may just have to resort to fighting him, and I don't think that would go very well. Ernest has some cartoonish stuff that may put him on a similar level to Jason in terms of stats. Yeah, in terms of stats. But he's no fighter like Jason. In Freddy vs. Jason, Mr. Voorhees himself he shows that he can brawl. When Ernest fights? Well, and Ernest goes to camp, he gets beaten up by some guy. And it's actually just kind of a sad scene. But yeah, I really think Ernest is out of his element here in a horror movie. He doesn't belong. Angela does belong in a horror movie, and I think it's very reasonable for her to come out on top. So that's Angela. That's why I think Angela.
I have my arguments for Ernest. I mean, I gotta stick up with him. I gotta stick up for him. I mean, for one thing, he's probably physically superior, given how many cartoonish antics he survives, not to mention that he straight up has superpowers, he has lightning powers, and he also might be immortal, so who knows what will happen. Who knows if Jason will even be able to succeed in killing him. They might be kindred spirits in a few ways, but I'll get back to that. Okay, the other thing is Angela and Jason are of similar inclinations and would probably want to compete in killing at some point, and it seems like Angela's already thinking that way. Whereas Ernest will be solely concerned with safety and getting the situation under control, and I'll point to that Jason's whole reason why he wants to kill all these, dumb, counselors or whatever is because they didn't have safety and getting things under control in mind, and they didn't care about the kids. Ernest cares about the kids, man. He does. He wants to help them and save them, and I don't think Jason will be he's a burden, bad thing on society. He's the scum that I have to wipe out. No, Jason thinks in that sort of way, but I don't think he'll think that's what Ernest is if he sees enough. Okay, I'm going on too long. Okay, with this one. Okay, the other thing, Angela hasn't dealt with the supernatural as directly as Ernest has. Well, yeah, Ernest met Santa Claus, and even more relevantly, he met those trolls, and Ernest scared stupid that were going around trying to kill everybody. So he's dealt with supernatural monsters trying to kill everybody before. And, despite Ernest's goofy reputation, he's shown more investigative initiative, and like when he tried to figure out how to get those trolls. And he would be more likely to find out ways to subdue or get rid of Jason than Angela, or at least he would figure out how to escape from the premises or contact the proper authorities. And Ernest, again, he has survived multiple attempts at his life before, like the evil Ernest, or being stuck in jail, or even in the camp movie itself, or the aforementioned trolls. And also, the other thing is, Ernest can rally people to his cause, and strength in numbers have been a way to kill off Jason before. Jason usually just is focusing on one or two at a time, but if multiple people are coming at him at different angles, there'll be less focus for him. And even more pertinent, Ernest was in the army, or at least could still have contacts with them. And when Jason was basically killed off, it was like he's lured out to get killed off by a bunch of gunmen, like the National Guard, I think. And as long as Ernest doesn't go like, this heart will go great and delicious with the mellow yellow, Jason's heart. I think he should be fine. I think he should be fine after that.
Boy.
No more Jason after that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, know what I mean.
Okay, is that your Ernest points?
Yeah, I'm gonna have that for Ernest for right now.
Alright, now we're gonna get into our rebuttal points then.
Alright. Okay, the first thing I want to bring up is you bring up that Ernest has, like, superpowers like lightning and might be immortal. That lightning thing was specifically because he got the fucking electric chair and goes to jail. I'm pretty sure he did have him by the end of the movie, but they eventually had to have worn off. He hasn't shown to ever use them again. And when it comes to immortality, that was in Goes to Camp, and again, it never comes back into play. He just, like, some guy shoots him and he doesn't get shot towards the end. But I don't think that's consistent enough with Ernest to where it can, like, it's suddenly, maybe it's because of, like, the specific campground he was on. But again, this is Crystal Lake. It's not the same.
Oh.
The authorities you mentioned, like, I think they're not gonna stop Jason. They've never stopped Jason. Time and time again, Jason has tanked, like, shotgun blast and has killed police officers before. Ernest is just gonna be spelling their doom. He's gonna be leading these poor police officers to their death. And you mentioned that Ernest, like, stopped, like, supernatural, he took care of supernatural forces. But Santa, he was not against Santa. He helped Santa. He got him his magic sack back. But you were reading the Trolls, right? As your main, like, the thing that Ernest fought.
Yeah.
In that movie, well, first things first, he tried to use fucking Miak against the creatures, and that's just stupid. How did he think it was Miak when it was like it was one word away from being milk, and he thought it was Miak? It doesn't even exist. So that failed, obviously. And then the troll turned all of the kids into stone and could summon, like, little troll minions. And the only way Ernest managed to defeat the troll was by hugging it. He started hugging it, like, come here, little guy, and he just had a fucking little dance. Somehow I don't think that's gonna work against Jason.
Are you sure?
I mean, if Ernest is wearing Pamela's sweater. Come here, little guy, I'm your mama.
Yeah, he might do that.
Do you have any points against me that you wanted to bring up?
Okay, well, basically, again, I think Angela will just be, like, too focused, like, trying to, like, directly compete with Jason, whereas Ernest's priority is going to be getting the situation under control and caring about the kids and all this and that. Jason is just going to be like, oh, this is another fucking Freddy again that I have to fuck with. Or he'll see Ernest and be like, oh, this guy actually cares about the kids. He actually wants them to be safe. Maybe I was wrong for doing all this. Maybe this is not my slasher quest to go on. You know?
I think Angela's intelligent enough to not just, like, try competing with Jason and actually try to get rid of him first. I don't think she's gonna be like, well, you decapitated his head. I decapitated 2 heads at once. Beat it, bitch. I don't think that's what's gonna happen. I think she's just gonna try to get Jason before even focusing on another camp counselor. And she's also really good at blending in, so she can probably also. You said, like, Ernest can get the help of people, but, you know, Angela can probably also rally some people up because she's good at blending in and pretending to be nice to people. Then again, I don't see anybody opting to go fight Jason since he's an urban legend that everyone knows about. I don't know what... is Ernest trying to convince kids to help him fight Jason? Because that's not good.
He's not... I don't know if it's necessarily kids, but I think he could rally people around him and figure out the ways to get rid of Jason and, like, you know, be proactive and all that. I don't think people are gonna be like... go to Angela and be like, hey, we hate this guy who's trying to kill everybody. We get this girl who's trying to kill everybody. We like you, though. I don't think that's likely. I feel like it's likely. I feel like Ernest will have enough know-how to be like, you know what, maybe taking this into my own hands isn't the exact approach I gotta take. I gotta get everybody on my side, and like, I'm concerned about getting the kids out of here and getting them to safety. I think that could be doable, unless there's like some convenience thing, like in a slasher movie where like, oh, the car won't start or whatever. and at that point, Jason is like gonna be approaching a bus filled with defenseless Ernest. Or, well, I argue he has some defenses, but like he's gonna be filled with Ernest and a bunch of defenseless kids, and like, I don't think that's Jason's style to be like.
I'll grant you that Jason does not kill kids. He doesn't kill kids. There was one point in the Friday the 13th movie, like he was like in a cabin with a bunch of kids and just decided not to kill them. But like, I think Ernest is probably gonna. I feel like most of his plans that he can come up with aren't gonna be very good. He's not a very smart guy. And I don't think we've considered, like, how terrified Ernest might be in the situation. He's kind of childish, and, like, he can get scared. I don't know if he'll be able to bring himself to fight against Jason. Because it's Jason. He's killing people. This might be a little, like, he's not used to this. I don't think anyone's ever died in an Ernest movie.
There's been, like, the threat of death. Although I think there's been deaths. He
had a level head against the trolls.
I think there's been deaths, but they've been reversed. Like in the Trolls movie, the Ernest Scared Stupid. Now I do think actually though it is in keeping with Ernest movies that it would be like, oh, Jason is like suddenly he sees the error of his ways in this situation, and maybe. What reason does Jason have to go and kill Ernest? Ernest is just trying to save the children from this dangerous situation, and I keep reiterating this. This is the exact thing that goes against why Jason wants to kill these people. He's like, oh, these people did not care about me dying, so you know what, fuck all of them. But then he sees Ernest, he sees a kind soul trying to help everybody, and he's like, you know what, and then he sees like this other person who's just like going around like, ha ha ha, I'm gonna also kill everybody, and he's be like, you know what, I'm gonna target her instead of Ernest. And at that point, Angela will, even if Ernest doesn't fully succeed by that point, if he goes after Angela first, and Angela dies first, then she'll have already lost.
I feel like Ernest is probably going to be one dying first. Like, how would he even, like, escape Jason if he first met him? Because I think it's pretty in character for him to want to befriend Jason immediately, and that's a bad sign. If Jason doesn't get to know Ernest by then, he doesn't see Ernest protecting people yet, and considering how oblivious Ernest usually is, I don't know if he'll like people just walk into Crystal Lake and go like, something's going. So there's a bunch of killers here. We gotta plan ahead. We gotta get the group together. I think it's more in character for him to first meet Jason and just have like a misunderstanding. And go like, oh, we're playing hockey, huh? I don't know they did those sports here at Crystal Lake. he might think that the lake is frozen because it's called Crystal Lake. Like, oh, we're gonna play hockey on there, huh?
Oh dear. There you go.
He could accidentally drown Jason that way, but that might. I don't know if Jason's that stupid. I don't know if Jason's that dumb, but that is how things might happen in an Ernest movie. But they walked into a Friday the 13th movie, so that's bad for Ernest, I think. But now I think we're like sort of this is about our basic points, right?
Yeah, I think we've gone over everything.
Okay, so that just leaves it up to Ribbit Theatre to decide who wins.
Alright. I'll have to listen to the arguments made for both. As much as funny as it would be if Ernest won, I do think Angelo probably wins this. In the circumstance presented, Ernest is under the impression that Jason is his friend, which means he'll probably immediately just try to have a conversation with him, which isn't good, because that means that Jason would have every opportunity to just kill Ernest right then and there. And like after the question of could he kill Ernest, Ducko at first had me a little bit on the fence because he said he had lightning powers, but Max mentioned that he might not have those anymore, which makes it a bit questionable. And I have my doubts that Ernest, given how you guys have described his personality, would attempt to attack someone who he thinks is his friend with lightning. Like he might, like Jason might take out his knife, and Ernest might mistake it for like a different type of gesture. I guess I don't know if he'd assume, oh, this person's about to murder me.
We're gonna be cutting some cake today, Vern?
Yeah, so something like that.
You must remember, it's my birthday.
Both of you made a kind of similar point, argument-wise, but like for your own characters, of basing it on the idea of this being a slasher movie or an Ernest film. Like Ducko based some of his points on, well, if this was in classic Ernest fashion, this would happen, and Max mentioned if this was in classic slasher fashion, this would happen. The issue is that for lack of a better term, it's a 1-to-3 ratio. So there's two slasher people here. They're in a slasher movie, and there is a slasher. I don't think it's gonna play out like an Ernest film. At least I doubt it. Jason's never shown to be a big softie, as far as I'm concerned. only to his mother. And Ernest. Even if Ernest found out, I really doubt he'd dress up as someone's dead mother to take them out. That seems a bit messed up for him.
For Ernest?
No.
I have a brilliant idea. I'll dress up as his dead mother.
His mother died. Let's you know what I mean? I got a good idea. So make the end scenario peaceful. Don't kill Ernest.
So I think, and Angela strikes me as the sort of person who. I don't know if she'd be able to beat Jason in hand-to-hand combat, but I think she'd have a better chance of surviving an attack from Jason, escaping, and then strategizing a bit more. And even if Ernest does escape, I think Angela's more likely to come up with like an actually viable method of getting rid of him.
For what it's worth, I do think Angela would protect Ernest because he's a nice guy, and she does protect people who are genuinely nice people. So,
if they meet,
yeah, if they met, she would at least be willing to help him and the innocent kids.
Yeah, I will agree. If Jason saw Ernest looking after the kids, it's very possible
that was a pretty good argument, I think, that made.
That's a very possible.
That is Jason's philosophy.
Yeah, but the thing is that they're meeting at a campfire alone, so Jason isn't gonna know that Ernest is like some child carer, and he'd probably just kill him right then and there.
Oh, okay.
All right. So, I'll do now the end result, the end scenario. Unless either of you have a big old problem with what I just said. Okay, cool. All right. Ernest sees his good friend Vern, and he runs up to him and gives him a big old hug, and then he feels a knife slice into the back of his neck. And slowly decapitate him. Ernest
my
internet
fucked off for a bit. I just came back to someone being decapitated. What happened?
Oh, Ernest is fucking dying right now, Max.
No!
No! No, he's immortal. He survived the knife stabbing. He
flops to the ground, and Jason crushes his head beneath his feet. And then from the bushes comes Angela, who saw this random guy as a good distraction for Jason, and she ends up jabbing her knife into Jason's head, immobilizing him and allowing her to kill the rest of the campers at the campsite.
Jesus!
Just everybody's dead.
Everyone's dead.
Except Angela, I guess. You fiend.
Yeah.
Good night, campers.
Yeah, the winner is Angela.
Yay! I guess, yay! Big question mark. I mean, I won, but at what cost?
Ernest was a means to the end, you could say.
No. Oh, no.
Hopefully,
okay.
the next fight will be a bit more lighthearted.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
For the scenario, the resistance of the future has run low on options until they find lost databases that Skynet had not managed to wipe out. It turns out, in the 1980s and early 1990s, there were two duos that had also mastered time travel, and they were on the human side. So through certain methods, they send agents back to inform and recruit them to their causes. Assuming they both go through with it, who will be the most effective in preventing the war of preventing the war of machines, creating a better future for humanity? Bill and Ted, or Doc and Marty?
Oh boy. So Ducko, you're for Bill and Ted.
Yeah, I got my reasons for Bill and Ted, man. Okay, first of all, they're already supposed to be the saviors of the future. What is the future in store for Doc and Marty? Marty's kid getting arrested, or Biff Tannen taking over Hill Valley? No such future savior status for Marty or even Doc. And the other thing is, Bill and Ted have already mastered time travel, even more so than Doc and Marty, as displayed in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, where they have done it to create levels of prep time that would make Batman's head spin. If they have failed at one task, they have already had another version of themselves go back in time to fix it. And while Doc is smart, he is not on the unknowable, mysterious, possibly cosmic levels of Rufus, who will be a great boon to Bill and Ted if they get stuck somewhere. Bill and Ted, at least in the movies, have gone to further planes of existence, such as heaven and hell, and as we already know, they have a close relationship with the Grim Reaper. Bill and Ted have already fought directly against cyborgs, and will be able to gather teams to counter any Terminator sent their way, with the stations creating good robot Arnold Schwarzeneggers and Robert Patricks to counter them. And you may notice that there is a lot of outside help involved in these points, but that is actually key. Whereas Marty might have bravado of his own, and may get himself over his head if a Terminator has learned to call him a chicken, Bill and Ted will know well enough to go through space and time to gather the types of people they need to accomplish their goals, despite their dim-witted reputations. And, well, Doc's tech is great and all, but if he truly was the greatest with it, wouldn't God have said Doc Brown instead of Station? I rest my case on Doc, and in general, I will rest my case for now.
Okay. What I say for Doc and Marty is Doc and Marty are much more competent than Bill and Ted. Think about it. If Bill and Ted brought actual historical figures into the future, the world would just blow up. They'd create a time paradox. There's so much shit that they introduced to these past figures. I'm pretty sure one of them even warned the other about they were gonna die. It was like, that would have fucked up the entire universe. I mean, that's no big deal in their universe, but they're in the Terminator universe now, and that kind of thing is treated a lot more seriously, like paradoxes and stuff. They could majorly screw everything up. Meanwhile, Doc Brown is amazing with time travel, and uses it effectively to solve every situation he and Marty got into. He thinks ahead a lot more than Bill and Ted do. Physically, Doc and Marty have what it takes to stop Skynet. Doc Brown once survives an explosion that levels a building in the cartoon, and Marty should scale. So, they could likely survive a potential T-800 or T-1000 trying to stop them from destroying Skynet. Doc Brown also probably actually knows how to stop Skynet. If anyone tried to explain to Bill and Ted how they could end Skynet, they would know. They'd absolutely forget it moments later. They can't have any information stick in their heads. Like, that's why they needed to get the historical figures in the first place, because they couldn't do like a simple test. Doc actually has the technology capable of wiping out an army of Terminators. He set up his DeLorean in order to fire out a beam capable of destroying the meteors that killed the dinosaurs. If he used that, he could save the future in the future without ever needing to go back. I mean, if the Terminator films have taught me anything, it's that Skynet is inevitable. There will always be another Terminator uprising, no matter how many times they delay it. Or even a Legion uprising from the classic Dark Fate film that I loved so much I didn't waste money seeing in theaters because I wanted to see an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. But yeah, Doc and Marty can just end the wars themselves and any future Skynet wars that may come. That may come to them. Since, as we've established, and they especially established in the cartoon, Doc Brown can create just the wackiest technology that would be able to defend them at any moment. Can Bill and Ted boast of doing such things? No. they could both stay failed to create world peace, as shown by the fact that they're making Bill and Ted free. Like, I'm pretty sure the premise is that they have not yet created world peace, and so they fucked up. They screwed up. They're not even like good at doing their density. I mean destiny. Fuck. But oh, you mentioned earlier Rufus being like a cosmic being. That's not true. He's just a guy from the future, and he's from a future that's full of peace, not war. So this horrible Terminator future may not be something he can help with at all. He may be able to like guide them at least a little bit to keep them focused, but the way Bill and Ted handle things, like their whole really stupid, oh, we already did that, and Bill and Ted 2, that made no sense. It doesn't apply. They can't just go. They can't just, like. How did they survive their encounter and then go back to do it again?
Rebuttal. You're already going into rebuttals.
If that like that one guy. Who's the villain in that movie? I forget his name. He was like
he was the bad guy. He was doing the same things, but they outwitted him.
Like he did this thing like where he outwitted them, and they're like, "Oh, well, we foresaw that you were gonna do that," and like that doesn't make any sense. How could they have known he was gonna do that without first dying to him? It doesn't make any sense.
They have multiple Bill and Ted iterations. I don't know.
That's the problem. Bill and Ted don't make sense. The Terminator movies and Back to the Future make sense. It's not gonna fly. They're just gonna destroy the universe in Terminator.
Maybe they can fix it. They can go back in time and fix it.
So yeah, we're already at rebuttals. It looks like.
Yeah, they can go back in time and fix it, man. The whole thing of them not making sense, man. Sorry.
You mentioned how they have direct combat, like they've met cyborgs, Evil Bill and Ted, right?
Yeah,
they killed Bill and Ted and spat on their corpses.
Yeah, they came back though.
They called them. I don't want to say, but yeah, they came back for like a series of convoluted events. Doc and Marty don't need to waste so much time. And like, are we sure that God's gonna let them do this again? Like they already had to fucking mug their way into heaven. Like they got to like mug 2 more people, get all the way back to heaven. And by then, I'm pretty sure Doc and Marty could have already solved this. They're just much more competent.
Well, if they're talking to God and like they're supposed to be the saviors of the world, they probably are gonna be like, these guys got to be saviors of the world, not Doc and Marty, man.
Well, see, we don't know if they're supposed to be the saviors of the world. Because they only saved the world in, like, one future, and everyone's like, oh, they did it. But, like, now we're not sure because of Bill and Ted Free. And I don't think God's just going to be like, well, I'll send these 2 idiots. Doc and Marty certainly can't handle it. If Doc and Marty can handle it, he'll just let him do it and not put his godchildren in danger. Like, if he has Bill and Ted in high regard, like, they're going to save humanity, I don't think he's going to be like, alright, I'll send them out, they can do it, and let them die again.
They're not gonna die again because God will hook them up.
Is God gonna bestow his power upon them and make them like a god, Bill and Ted?
He's gonna send them back in time to like tell Miles Dyson or whatever. He's like, "Yo, dudes, don't make that robot stuff. Make some video games, dude."
You know, that worked in Terminator 2, but in Terminator 3 that didn't work. You can't just tell that one guy to not do it, because it failed. Skynet came back again. Doc and Marty have an actual solution. It's to not fuck with time and just kill the Terminators. That's the only way to effectively get rid of Skynet, according to the Terminator sequels, where they just keep coming back and back. You can't delay the inevitable. It's the robot uprising. It's coming, guys. And then fucking John Connor. The robot apocalypse! Excellent!
Oh no!
They love it. They think it's cool.
Oh no!
Right, Scott!
They think it looks like they're... Yeah. They think that for a moment, but even that they got out of hell, man. They got out of hell.
Duck and Marty prevented Hell Valley from being made. I think they've stopped Doom futures before. You mentioned that the future in store for Duck and Marty is Marty's kid getting arrested and Biff Tannen taking over, but they solved both of those problems in that movie, and it's shown they have a pretty successful life ahead of them in other media.
Oh,
that
well,
was the weird, yeah. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
The thing is, you're talking about, oh, it doesn't make sense, but like that's the thing, like their thinking is ahead of us. That's why they became the saviors of the
Are
future.
you implying Bill and Ted have like a cosmic mindset?
Yeah,
They're idiots.
They're savants.
Doc Brown is a genius. Marty's smarter than both Bill and Ted.
That's what they want you to think.
No. Okay.
I mean,
thing.
they're pretty galaxy brain, if I do say so myself.
Oh my god.
But yeah,
how did they create their book report? They went their history report. They went and actually got the historical figures. How did they?
Yeah, that was so stupid. That would have destroyed everything.
Well, not with how they do it. Something about them must just be really good. Everybody else is all
something
worried.
about them because they wanted a happy ending.
So everybody else is worried about these paradoxes, but Bill and Ted, they're just like, what has to be done has to be done.
No, I think they're too incompetent. Doc and Marty are way too intelligent and way more experienced with time travel.
So
I think.
Wait, Ducko. The argument that you're currently riding on is that Bill and Ted are just so intellectual that they can just ignore time paradoxes.
They did it before.
Yeah, that's the one thing, and I don't think that's enough to win. But that's all up to Ribbit, unless you have more rebuttals.
Goodness gracious. I mean, yeah. You don't know the full arc of Bill and Ted 3 yet. It could be that they do end up doing it.
But even if they do, like, end up
it was just
heroes,
delayed, like Judgment Day, but like for positive.
Maybe they end up. Maybe Bill and Ted 3 is a Terminator crossover.
Even if they are our saviors eventually, that doesn't mean that they're the saviors of the Terminator universe. It just means they saved their universe and gave it world peace. But anyway,
Oh dear.
It's all up to Ribbit now.
Alright, I think even Ducko knows that some of his arguments are a little weird, but he does make some valid points. The thing that's weird about this one is that all three of these universes, from what I can tell, have pretty drastically different time travel rules.
Yeah.
But if we're to believe that this is the Terminator universe, that is Bill and Ted's shortcoming, and that's why I think Doc and Marty win, because I think Bill and Ted's time travel rules are the most drastically different of the three. And that means that they're the most likely to make a mistake. They'll just like go by their rules, and that will end up messing them up. If they're in the Back to the Future world or the Terminator world, I think they're screwed. If they're in their world, I could see something happening, but like Max said, Doc and Marty still have like a ton of valid methods of getting rid of Skynet and the Terminators, and I think they're the only ones that could actually defeat a Terminator if they ran into them. And considering that they're trying to take down Skynet, it'd be pretty hard to not run into a single Terminator. So Bill and Ted could run, but the Terminators have pretty fast weapons, and Rufus, like Max said, is a very peaceful person. He isn't used to very apocalyptic situations, and Bill and Ted have never dealt well with robots, like Max mentioned, because they got spat on. So overall, I just think the time travel rules are stacked against Bill and Ted, and Ducko could totally be right. Maybe they are just so intelligent that we think they're dumb. But their type of intelligence is more based around making peace rather than like they might try to revert the Skynet people or something. I feel like Doc and Marty are more likely to try and outright destroy Skynet. So yeah, I think Doc and Marty win.
Dudes, this is heavy! Great Scott!
I won't make this end scenario as dark.
Alright, so there we go. Thank God. I was most worried about losing that one.
Alright.
Ribbit, give us an end scenario.
Okay. Bill and Ted end up in the post-apocalyptic future. They look around. They see a dystopian wasteland filled with skulls, giant robots, and a sky that basically never becomes day. And they think to themselves, whoa, well, okay, you know who can really help us here? Abe Lincoln. And they go back in time. They get Abe Lincoln. And they bring Abe Lincoln in, and he sees a Terminator, and he's like, oh, I know just what to do. And he gets up on the stage, and he goes, party on, dudes! And then the Terminators aren't really deterred. They just go and continue about their day, try to kill Abe Lincoln. Bill and Ted go, well, dudes, this is a bit much. And they go back in there. They're back in their box and go back kind of.
They left Abe Lincoln.
No, Abe Lincoln comes with them, but Abe Lincoln just stays. They send him back to when he was, back to his time. They head back to their world, and they go, well, let's take advantage of the world while we got it. We got it for 5 or so more years. Let's help the other dudes fix it. Doc Brown, he comes out of his
DeLorean.
DeLorean, and he takes out his giant laser, and he destroys the Skynet building, and in the process he also destroys a nearby town. Whatever.
Probably abandoned anyways. This is the future.
Probably abandoned. Duck and Marty they get a nice little reward for showing off the courage of a scoutmaster, and the day is saved.
All right. Yay, you did it.
So Bill and Ted are still totally okay.
Yeah, that future's fine. They didn't get killed like Ernest, thank God.
What the heck?
Okay, let's go to the final one of today, the final match.
Alright, now we have the final one. The planet of the apes has long since taken over. But out of the ocean, they've discovered 2 frozen great apes. One large, one really large. They unthaw them, and the 2 apes see this planet of the apes and decide that there is only one thing for them to do: take over. Whatever means they decide are up to you. By the way, this is the original bitch-ass Donkey Kong, not the new bitch-ass Donkey Kong. Out of fairness, and also because he's the one who's compared to King Kong. Is King Kong versus Donkey Kong?
Yes, Donkey Kong is a King Kong. I'm on the side of Donkey Kong. Yeah.
Max, go first.
Because you like debating for bitch ass doo doo heads.
Don't be rude to Donkey Kong. Okay. So. The one game you suck at.
You suck at.
Donkey Kong, the original one, is still smarter than King Kong and can make rational decisions. Well, not rational, but he did successfully kidnap Pauline and fend it off against Mario. His arsenal of barrels and how he uses them as a weapon will amaze the apes, more so than Kong's dino-killing hands. Donkey Kong eventually becomes Cranky Kong, because we're using the classic one, who is wise, and he knows some magic, I think. So in the long run, he'll be more helpful when he's older than a wizard old King Kong sucking on the last of their berry juice. Donkey Kong once got Pauline to choose him over Mario in the Super Mario-kun manga. So if he can make the girl he kidnapped side with him, he can make these apes take his side. He also appears to have a variety of little minions already on his side, like flame monsters, sentient springs, and little alligator robots. They could help him taking over humanity, although I think it's already taken over. They could maybe just be useful tools for the apes. If King Kong offered to take over, DK would just go, no! Wait, is Caesar dead? No. What happened to Caesar?
This is the Planet of the Apes is in the future, isn't it? Yeah, I'm not talking about Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I'm talking about when they already got the Statue of Liberty sunken down and all that.
You maniacs.
Yeah.
But I think Donkey Kong is more, since he's just a lot smarter than King Kong, who's kind of an idiot, probably be the more attractive choice. So that's why I think Donkey Kong.
I got some points of my own for King Kong. Okay, first of all, he's much larger, whereas DK is within the realm of the other apes' size. That might make them more capable of believing that he is some sort of god to be worshipped. And perhaps in the world of Planet of the Apes, King Kong will actually be understood, or at least more easy to understand than it was for humans of his time. And also, King Kong could also be said to have beaten Godzilla, as well as a mecha version of himself. You may have thought that Beauty killing the beast was the end of him, but for some reason they always keep deciding to revive King Kong. Something about him makes the scientific community fascinated by him, and there are many scientifically minded apes on this planet who will share a similar mindset. That said, Donkey Kong will be more normal to the apes, who will just view him as equivalent to some type of jock or something more than anything. In stronger forms...
What up, nerd?
In stronger forms, King Kong could be said to be harder to take down than Donkey Kong, who was taken down by a very early Mario by just knocking him off the construction site and then trapping him in a cage. And that's very similar to how the apes in this world capture the humans. So it's very possible that Donkey Kong, just because this is an ape with like our dumb human level intelligence, the level of intelligence of our dumb humans, whereas King Kong, while he's not like super intelligent, he's a giant, and another thing that he can provide, he has electrical powers in this other version where he fought Godzilla. He could provide electricity to the apes, which is more valuable than any research that Donkey Kong could provide. So if this is like some giant ape that shoots down electricity, that they'll really think like, oh, this is ape god. This is like our Zeus or Raiden or Odin or whatever, Thor. And also apparently King Kong merged with a human before. I don't know what this means. Maybe they can merge him with the... I don't know what it means. I just read this on like this bio that I was looking at.
He had sex.
No, I don't think that's what that means.
We're merging!
No, they merged consciousness or intelligence or something. So maybe they can merge, like, in order to communicate with him more, they can like read his brain with one of their more human-like apes or something like that. They could do some sort of experiment to try and understand King Kong. I feel like they will be more fascinated by this guy, this giant ape that shoots lightning, than like just this guy, this mostly regular size-ish to them ape that throws barrels.
Okay.
So there you go.
So now we'll get into the rebuttal points.
Yeah.
I think intelligence is actually a pretty decent factor, especially since we're in the... I think we're in like the Planet of the Apes universe where they all say, "Oh, you damn dirty human!" Like they're talking.
Yeah.
You're in that one, right? Those guys are smart apes. King Kong is not a smart ape. He's a big one, but I'm pretty sure it's not gonna take a lot of time for them to realize, oh, this guy's a couple screws loose. This guy's not that smart. Meanwhile, Donkey Kong can think. He's like an anthropomorphic Mario character, so like he can like make emotions and do things. I think like Donkey Kong just like he'll be able to be a much better leader than King Kong. King Kong's just gonna eat all their food, and he's gonna be so big they're probably not gonna be able to integrate him into society. He'll stomp on all of their places. He might also just be more rabid and like actually start destroying shit, while Donkey Kong can be peaceful.
Well, you know what I had to say is that
King
Kong,
I'm talking.
they have, I know King Kong is like usually thought of as the rampaging monster, but there's been times, where he bonds with the humans, and like the humans are like, oh, we can understand you through like sign language, or like we
he goes ice skating with the girl.
Oh yeah, and they'll be like, and even more so now that they're fellow apes, they'll have even more reason to like want to try and bond with him and study him. Again, I think they'll find him very fascinating, and they'll find ways to like figure him out and be like, oh, what's his whole deal? What's his whole deal? Whereas like Donkey Kong he'll just be trying to be Chad. Like I said. I don't think that routine.
Come on, Pauline, come on. Just hang loose a little bit.
I don't think.
Okay, the people who got fascinated by King Kong, if I remember from like the reboot with like Jack Black, the people who worship King Kong are like insane people. They were like insane and tried to kill them.
Oh, well, they'll have a more reasonable outlook if they're the studious apes, man.
The apes of this future aren't so, like, rabid. But yeah, that's all I have to say for Donkey Kong.
I think we've sort of gone with it. We've sort of talked about our points. I don't know if we have anything else to say.
Yeah. Just, Ribbit, who takes over Planet of the Apes?
Okay, so this is probably the overall hardest one for me. Maybe it's because I actually know both very well. So, one of the things that I was wondering was like, could King Kong communicate with the Planet of the Apes folks? But I recall that there have actually been some pieces of King Kong media where he's shown some level of communication skills. So I think he could. In which case, I think he has more to boast about. He took out Godzilla. He's taken down dinosaurs. Donkey Kong, at this point, assuming that this isn't Cranky Kong, has only really stolen a woman from a fat guy and then got captured by said fat guy, and so
Yeah.
I mean I guess he fucked at some point because he's Donkey Kong Jr. There's that as well. I suppose he could boast about his sex life if he wants to be
Yeah,
a jock.
he
like
really
Rico
is
said.
Chad!
He really is just trying to be
like,
Chad.
Oh, come on, guys! Yeah, I got laid! You didn't! Ah!
What I'm saying is that basically King Kong's more simple-minded, but I think he's a more impressive show.
Yeah.
He's something that the monkeys would see. They go, "Whoa, holy shit! This guy's massive. He took on Godzilla, king of the monsters. He took on a T-Rex or something, and all that." And the other guy,
a fat guy.
Oh, look at that! It's a
I lost,
jock.
but I fought him.
It's a jock who's bragging about his sex life. We don't want to have him as a
That's
despite
fair.
being dumber. I think he's just generally a bit more of an appealing choice based off of his portfolio of showings.
Yeah.
And there you go.
Yeah, I agree with that. King Kong.
Yeah. I gotta win. There we go.
All right, so the two gorillas end up in front of a large army of apes on a stage. They both are at different stands. This is like a presidential election, by the way. And an ape goes, "So why should you lead us?" And King Kong goes, "I beat a dinosaur. I fought Godzilla. I think maybe sort of. I don't know. I have electrical powers and stuff." And then he goes, "Okay, why should you lead us?" And Donkey Kong goes, well, let me tell you, I fuck. I get around, mate."
Whips out his banana. Take a look at this. That's a delicious banana. I got a whole
When
hoard of
King
this
Kong
shit
is
at
done,
home.
half the crowd cheer, and when Donkey Kong's
boy.
done, the other half of the crowd cheer. Basically, all of the manly monkeys cheer for King Kong, and and all the incel
All the
monkeys, they
buff
cheer for King
monkeys.
Kong.
Oh no! What the heck?
And it comes out a 50 to 51 split for the vote, and yeah, no.
50 to 51. So
A 49 to
101%.
51
to
split.
51, right?
I'm intelligent.
It's a monkey universe. It's okay.
Yeah, they're fucking dumb. And it turns out the winner is King Kong by a smidge. Donkey Kong throws a little tantrum and he throws a barrel at one of the monkeys. And he gets kicked off the island and he has to find somewhere else to live because he killed a bunch of people now.
Oh shit!
He's just sitting crouched over eating a banana.
Yeah,
sad.
and as that Donkey Kong travels, he finds himself on a strange tropical island that also seems to be inhabited by a lot of other gorilla life. But these people seem quite nice. And it turns out he found himself on Donkey Kong Island, and that's where it all started.
Oh, that's how it went on.
Yeah.
He got kicked out.
There we are.
Kicked out of Planet of the Apes. Yeah. So there you
So
go.
it's a time loop?
Yeah, they're in a time. Well, no, he grows up to be Cranky Kong over there.
I like
There
how
you go.
the endings got progressively nicer. We started with Ernest dying, and we just end on Donkey
jeez.
Kong finding happiness.
Yeah.
There we go. Hey.
Alright.
Yay.
So that was GRUDGE Goes to the Movies. Oh, this was fun. I like this. Thank you for watching. If you guys want more, we'll probably do more. Probably. Although, maybe not monthly. I don't think we can accomplish that, but whatever we feel like.
Yeah.
So, thanks for watching.
Have a good day.
Yeah, thanks for. Bye bye. Have a good day.